Hey there! Thanks for tuning in to Exposed. I'm April Rose, and today's title is Saving Ourselves. This video is going to be a little bit different and much shorter than my typical videos. Quality over quantity today. Sometimes it just doesn't take a lot of time to drive a point home. And I normally post my motivation videos on Mondays, Motivational Mondays, but in honor of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, I didn't want to intrude on the remembrance of what he stood for and what his life meant to us. I wanted to allow his day to reside in that sacred space in which it belongs. So instead of trampling on his day, I decided to pray about what he may want us to hear today. And I figured I'd let yesterday marinate a bit and then reflect a little bit on exactly what yesterday meant to me. I want to encourage us all to allow today, the day after Martin Luther King's Day, and every day going forward to serve as a continuation of the movement he led for our equality. We have come so far, but we all know that we have so much further to go. So to me, yesterday meant that we need to activate forward movement. Reverend King is, in my experience, the most remarkable man to grace this earth in the 20th century. Growing up, my mother made sure to expose us to all things Dr. King. She literally immersed us in Black history. And although learning about Dr. King as a little girl was exciting and very validating for me, it wasn't until I was an adult that I realized just how important and impactful that exposure actually was. What was even more surprising was recently learning that many people were not exposed to Black history like kids as we were. And this revelation came about as I was having a conversation with a coworker. And she was about the same age as me. We were talking about the youth of today. And I said something like, I think that the young people today are too far removed from the struggle to really get it. Right? I said, when we were kids, our parents taught us about Black history and we learned about it in school. And her reply caught me completely off guard. She said, my mother never taught me about Black history, and I never learned about it in school. And at the time, I really thought she was joking, but I quickly found out that she wasn't. So we began to try to figure out what was in the gap of this space that separated our experiences as children. And we soon discovered that our experiences were very much different simply because I was from the North and she was from the South. Well, after that conversation, I got really curious and I kind of went on sort of a quest to get a better understanding. And lo and behold, after talking to quite a few people who were born and raised in the South, I was able to confirm our suspicions. And today I live in the beautiful state of North Carolina. Overall, Black history was not taught here. So something as small as, or as large as, depending on how you look at it, but something as small as geographical location can cause you to miss out on something that could be life-changing. So that experience, I told you about that experience because that experience is what spearheaded my message for today. Let me just say, if you have never learned about the history of Black culture in detail, I encourage you to take the time to study it. It will change your life, no matter what color, race, or nationality you are. So today, let's honor Dr. King. Honor him for doing it afraid. Honor him for doing it when many others refused to do it. Honor him for doing it with all of his heart. Honor him for sacrificing himself and for walking in his purpose. Let us honor him for giving his life in order for us to be able to enjoy so many of the freedoms we are afforded every day. The freedoms that we take for granted far too often. And as you honor him, honor all of those who participated in the civil rights movement with him. Honor all of those who paved the way for us. Honor those who kicked in doors. Honor those who at times had to set aside their own dignity for their safety. Honor those who refused to give up seats and defied unjust laws meant to strip us of our self-respect. While Dr. King was the leader of the civil rights movement, he was well aware that he would not have been able to effect lasting change without those people who followed him. Those people who stood in protest with him, who attended rallies, who took violence, who risked their freedoms and even their lives for what they saw as a much greater purpose. All of those people who refused to accept less than, they were the vehicle that drove us to a different place socially. But Dr. King was the captain, the driver. Let us not leave the bus parked simply because the best driver to ever drive us thus far is no longer with us. Let us not dishonor all of those people by sitting idly by on our hands while the even more freedoms they so desperately wanted for us and would have been willing to sacrifice for are nowhere in our forward view because of our lack of action. You can only see the change after you make a decision to be the change. Dr. King was a promoter of self-love amongst our people. He truly believed that it was how we were going to heal our race. He knew that bitterness was a threat that we face that would be counterproductive to that healing. And one of his quotes still rings true today, 50 years after he wrote it. To guard ourselves from bitterness, we need the vision to see in this generation's ordeal the opportunity to transform both ourselves and American society. We not only have the opportunity, but we also have the power to transform ourselves and American society. But it is going to take a collaborative effort and our intentional action to develop self-love. Therein lies our power. We must work together and on a large scale, not only in pockets, but in outfits. It's going to take putting down the bitterness that not only clouds our judgment and paralyzes us from moving forward to the better day Dr. King envisioned for us. The best way to overcome bitterness is to live in the present and evaluate what you can do to avoid history repeating itself, to allow our anger to fuel us into action. I have to say I am truly blessed, and I have some pretty amazing women in my circle, and I pray every day that I am able to contribute to them at least half of what they contribute to me on the regular. But a very dear friend of mine in that circle said something to me one day that struck a chord in me. She said, "Nobody is coming to save us." Now, she didn't mean that in the spiritual sense, of course, because we know that Jesus came and he did his work. But she meant it in a physical sense. We have to save ourselves. In the words of June Jordan, we are the ones we've been waiting for. If we want other people to view us in a better light, it starts with us. People will only treat us how we treat ourselves and how we allow them to treat us. And that applies in every area and every relationship in our lives. Until we see ourselves as worthy and treat ourselves accordingly, and each other accordingly, will continue to spin in these same circles every day until we honor one another for who we are individually and collectively. We cannot expect anyone else to honor us, guys. If we want change, we have to be change agents. What's a change agent, April Rose? A change agent is a person who in this case, from the inside helps an organization transform itself by focusing on such matters as organizational effectiveness, improvement, and development. We, the people of the urban community, we are that organization that needs transforming. And those of us who have an advantage to be able to offer the improvement and development that is so needed have to step up now. We who have been blessed enough to know that there's a better way of life are responsible to affect change within the communities of people who look like us. It is no longer acceptable for us to only be responsible to our four and no more. It is time for us to be an example to those who have never seen, heard, or touched such an example. The people who don't know the possibilities that we experience are even possible. You are only as smart as you're making somebody else. Who have you educated today? Who has grown because of you today? Who is more empowered because of you today? Whose self-esteem increased because they encountered you today? Walk in purpose, even if you don't know what your exact purpose is. What can you do today to affect positive, lasting change? What can you do tomorrow? Listen, I learned a little tip. We always need something or someone outside of ourselves that prevents us from slacking on our greatness. It could be that you want to educate 1,000 girls in Nigeria. It could be that you want to help 10,000 sufferers of domestic violence escape to safety. It could be that you want to pay for 100 high school graduates to go to college. No matter what will drive you, you have to find something to focus outside of your home that will drive you. Something that will cause you to get out of bed even when you don't want to. Once you have that outside purpose, you'll start to ask yourself questions like, so 10,000 women are going to be physically abused today, all because I want an extra hour of sleep? You see how ridiculous it sounds when you put it into that context. Don't assume people know what you know. There is something in you that somebody else needs, I promise you. There's something you know that we need to know. There's a quality in you that is going to make somebody else so much better. Now, you may want to fade into the background, and maybe your purpose is to be in the background. But if it's not, I'm calling you out today. I'm holding you accountable. And no matter, sorry, I'm having allergies. And no matter where your place is, whether it's in the forefront or the background, you do not have the right to deprive me of your gift. I need you. We need you. The world needs you. And it's high time that we stop talking about it and be about it. It's high time that we stop thinking about it and be about it. It's simply high time to be about it. So this is why I'm starting a new nonprofit organization. It's called Saving Ourselves Wisely. This organization is going to provide a wide range of resources to residents of the urban community. And these resources will create opportunity and help lead to self-sustainability. We're going to be educating, healing, rehabilitating the disadvantaged by providing improvement programs to residents of underserved and underprivileged communities. But every move we make will be intentional. And the end result will be changing the way we see ourselves and each other, which will force us and others to see us in the same light. So 2018 is here, and 2018 is a year of new beginnings. And new beginnings begin with you. Are you going to do your work? What are you going to do in 2018 to affect lasting change in your community? What are you going to take part in? What are you going to do to help us with saving ourselves? If you're not sure, maybe you want to team up with us. Whatever you choose to do something positive, because we're waiting on you. And I ask you to put it in the comments what you're going to do. Kind of hold yourself accountable to it. But before I go, yesterday I watched the special edition of Oprah's Masterclass, the Civil Rights Edition. And the very last words that were spoken by Maya Angelou. And she said, and it can be better, and it must be better, but it's up to us. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, share. Follow me on Facebook at April the Rose. That's THEE. And on Instagram at April the Rose. That's THE. Remember, be the change. See the change.